Hey-ho, this is Septi and Spoctor. Looks like we need to have this talk again because it would seem he just doesn't learn his lesson.
Why do you keep making these videos? No one watches them! They're cringe as shit!
But before any of that, if you're new to the channel or a recurring audience member who hasn't subscribed yet, please consider doing so. It motivates me to keep making long videos where I talk about whatever I feel like at the moment.
Now that's quality content. That's the kind of stuff that I can really appreciate.
Now, if you see my video I made 2 weeks ago, you probably already know what happened. Spoctor got exposed for his reckless actions from 6 years ago when he was a 16-year-old teenager and exchanged news with someone who was 3 years younger than him because they didn't know any better at the time. And for some incomprehensible reason, he held onto them for 2 years before deleting them after he turned 18. There are many theories and speculations as to why he did that. It could have been a conscious effort, or he simply didn't remember he saved them on his flash drive. We don't know, and we probably will never know. But that's not what we're here to talk about today. Since, as the title would suggest, Spoctor deleted his channel. That's right, his YouTube channel that had over 200k subscribers and his Twitter account is gone. You would think that means he finally moved on, and by getting rid of his socials he can finally get some help and live a healthy life offline, right? If only. One thing I didn't talk about in my last video was the fact in Spoctor's response, he originally titled the video Lio and Peaches are monsters, which was capped by a user named Stevie, who actually watches my content, so shout out to you. I didn't know about this until after I made my video, otherwise I would have talked about how much of a bad idea it is to antagonize the people who are criticizing you and compare them to people who actually slandered you years ago. And while we're at it, let's talk about that for a bit. A lot of people were saying stuff like, looks like Stories and Pentagram were right after all. This is why you're wrong. A couple of years ago, Stories and Pentagram really wanted to take down Spoctor because he was a condescending jerk who ranted about stuff that was mostly made by kids. So they decided to make up false groomer allegations to ruin his reputation and cancel him, but he was saved by Sprocket when she defended him from these allegations. At the end of the day, lies and fabrications are still wrong and it's still slander regardless of the current situation. As for the other thing, there is no concrete evidence suggesting that Spoctor was grooming Spooder. Sure, there's no solid evidence on the contrary, but you know what they say.
The absence of evidence is not the evidence of absence.
What?
Simply because you don't have evidence that something does exist does not mean that you have evidence that something doesn't exist.
People also claim that Spooder's statement didn't disprove anything because the screenshots that Spoctor provided would suggest that she's unaware of what's going on, but you can also look at it this way. According to them, this wasn't the first time Spoctor got in trouble for this story, so it's possible she knew immediately what's this all about, just by saying it's about the two of them. Another thing I didn't point out was it wasn't Lio Convoy nor Hopeless Peaches who claimed Spoctor was a predator. Those claims were spoken by the people who saw the video and came to that conclusion.
You fuck young boys, Valdez.
Are you a madman?
Even the Wikitubia page called this a 2023 child grooming scandal, and using Lio Convoy's video as a source for this claim. Whoever wrote this page is full of other bullshit and spreads straight up misinformation, since the article states things like, Spoctor revealed in a Discord call with the names Junkie and Fagos that he admitted to grooming a teenager when she was 15 years old and asked for her nudes. He also compared his adopted sister to his partner because both of them were the exact same age when he dated her. A lot of this is completely untrue. First of all, Spoctor was 16 years old and the girl was 13. By the time of the recording he was 18 and she was 15. So already these are straight up false facts about their age, and there's no mention of the actual age gap either. The second thing is, Spoctor wasn't talking about his adopted sister, he was talking about his actual sister, and used her as an example when he thinks about how much he cares about his family member who is contemporary with the person he was dating, and realize how gross his interactions were with this girl, and doesn't know how he did not think of that 2 years prior to that call. He also never admitted to grooming her. He said they were dating with a 3-year age gap, and at one point exchange explicit pictures, which he acknowledges they really shouldn't have, and he destroyed a flash drive when he found them 2 years later. Child grooming by definition is establishing an emotional connection with a child under the age of consent with the conscious effort to sexually exploit and or abuse them.
This is definitely getting demonetized.
Did Spoctor do that? We don't know, because we know nothing about the story, so don't draw a conclusion after reading the Wikitubia page. They always get the details wrong and never bother to correct the misinformation, regardless if they're contributing to making someone seem way worse than they really are. And one more thing I'd like to point out, since a lot of keyboard warriors with foaming mouths keep telling Spoctor that they hope he will go to jail. That's not going to happen. They were both minors when this happened 6 years ago. When he found out he still had this material saved on his flash drive, he deleted it and smashed his drive, which happened 4 years ago. So already when you consider the fact that there's no tangible evidence they could arrest him for, Spoctor is not going to prison. It doesn't matter how many angry comments you leave under his post or under this video, you cannot change the fact he's not going anywhere. Speaking of going nowhere, after the deletion of his accounts, I thought he would stay away from social media, only to realize today that he made a second account for personal usage under the name of Swigstack. Which was very disappointing to hear, because last time he said he was going to leave and never come back. It's been 2 weeks since you wrote that post and this account's been active since May 19th. Almost 2 weeks before you said you were going to leave, Spoctor. Are you an idiot? Granted, by the looks of it, he's just posting about going outside and hanging out with friends and trying to live a stress-free life, which is a good thing. However, he's not in a position to be posting online right now. After a very bad scandal like this one and his terrible response to everything, the worst thing he can do is have a public account for casual posting like nothing ever happened. What was the thing you said many years ago when this teenager faked committing not alive? This is the internet. It's easy not to get caught. Stop getting caught like a dumbass. Practice what you preach, Spoctor, because this is embarrassing to look at. You didn't even try to hide the fact it's you. Anyway, other than posting some pictures about him having fun in his fursuit, he posted stuff like this. I am back, and I'm hoping to keep this one personal. Then why'd you make it public?
Are you a fucking retard or what?
Oh, people will get personal, I promise you that. You've already been caught using this account, so it's only a matter of time before people start attacking you and quote-tweeting you. A behavior I don't encourage, by the way, so please don't harass Spoctor after seeing this video. 2 wrongs will not make a right. Anyway, update. He privated his account a day after I took these screenshots. He only ever makes a move when he gets caught. It's so lame. Anyway, he also said, probably won't tweet for a bit, lol. Gotta stay away from social media for a while. Last time you said you'll stay away forever, and that only lasted for 2 weeks. How much is for a while to you? A couple of hours? What is up with people being unable to just address what they got themselves into? I know it sucks. Trust me, I know. I had to go through that humiliating experience last year. And since it was my first time doing anything like that, of course my video sucked. But that's a story for another day. What is that saying? Failure is the best teacher. It's easy to criticize other people when they do something wrong, but most people are unable to speak coherently when it's them who mess up.
Everything is just fucking falling apart and it's very funny.
I agree. It's very ironically funny how all these people are acting like cowardly losers who are simply unable to address their controversies properly and just run away from their problems. We have a good saying back at home, a liar is easier to catch than a 3-legged dog. Spoctor, you asked people to talk about your post because you lacked the energy to make a proper video, and we did. Mostly small commentators like myself, Sev, and the Afromentator, who also criticized how bad Sev's video was and fell into the same mistake as the Wikitubia page I just debunked. That being, you're spreading misinformation, you don't even know the ages of the people you talk about, or what happened in general. In cases like these, I always say, either speak the full truth, or don't open your mouth. In serious allegations like this one, you can't play a game of telephone. You don't add or change bits and pieces in the story to fit your own narrative. So, final thoughts. Spoctor needs to stop being an idiot and just stay offline for a very long time. I'm not saying he can't even open the internet from now on, but he definitely should not be posting anything at all right now. He's clearly not welcome here. While I like to take a more neutral approach in grey situations like this one, I can't deny the fact that Spoctor's behavior throughout the years was unacceptable. He ruined the reputation of many people. He always tried to hide his mistakes when he was called out, and he simply just won't stop repeating the cycle of leaving and coming back regardless of how bad the situation is. If I had to describe Spoctor in 3 words, it would be immature, cowardly, and irresponsible. Just do yourself a favor and don't come back. And I say that in the most inoffensive way possible. Don't do this for the people who support or dislike you, do it for yourself. Because it's very clear you are struggling with some serious issues and social media won't help your case at all. But of course, this is just my own humble personal opinion. But what do you think about all of this? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. If you made it this far in the video and your subscription button is still red, why don't you change that if you'd like to see more content from me in the future? And as always, I shall continue to make more videos whenever I get the chance, but until then, I'm Septi and goodbye.